Hey everyone, how's it going? Wanted to pop in really quickly to give you an example that Garrett created for helping you with your schedules. So you all submitted your project schedules several weeks ago. We've had an opportunity to review those, and we've received a plethora of designs when it comes to your schedule. We wanted to give you an opportunity to enhance and iterate your schedules for final submissions in your PDR. So Garrett went ahead and created a couple templates that you can use to professionalize your schedules. And we've actually had an opportunity to run these examples by Michael Fitzgerald, who was our guest, I believe, in week 3, and discuss schedules. He's got a level of expertise that we all want to emulate when it comes to project management. So we had a great opportunity to get feedback from him, and Garrett's going to be sharing a little bit today of what these templates look like and how to format them so that you can customize these for yourself. We also want to review a self-assessment guide that we put together for your schedule so you can look at your original schedule you submitted and identify where you need to reimagine and rework your schedule to professionalize it even more. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it on over to Garrett so he can explain the template and that you'll be receiving, and you can modify that to your liking. Garrett?
Thanks, Dan. I hope everybody's doing well. As Dan said, I did two different types of project scheduling. One I did in Excel and the other in Microsoft Project. So if I'll first explain the Microsoft Excel, and then later on in the video, I'll kind of go over the Microsoft Project Excel sheet. So this is the project schedule that I made. This is going to be posted within the forum along with this video. So just a quick overview. These schedules can be found, these templates can be found within Microsoft Excel. There's built-in project schedules that you can look for. You can either type in project schedule and it'll come up with different types. You can search Gantt chart and it'll show you a variety of them. The one I chose in particular was the simple Gantt chart. It gives you just a simple version of it, but I was able to edit it to what it would actually take for a list-based project. So I edited it to where I could add, where you can have assigned people. I did some of the milestone or tasks, bigger tasks that you need to be aware of, when you're actually going to the project. And this can all be edited, so be aware of that. Adjust to where your team is currently at, and adjust towards your project. So this is a quick overview of it. I'll go over how to change the settings, and how you guys can change it towards your team's project. So in the upper left-hand corner, we got the List-Based Academy project schedule. We have our team number, and we have our project team members. And we also have a project start date that'll adjust to whenever you want to have your schedule start. For this example, I did September 20th, and I made the end date. I actually extended this all the way up until December 31st, or until the first week of January. And like I said, I found this template within Excel, and the people that actually made it was Vertex 2. If you click on this website or go to the About page, they'll actually go over how to change the data as well. So if you want to explore that, you can. But I took the initiative and actually edited it to where you guys can adjust it to your team's desire. So within a project schedule, you have these milestones or bigger tasks that all lead up towards your end objective, which would be your preliminary design review, or PDR. And some of them that I thought of real quickly was just conduct a background research, brainstorm liner designs, science deliverables, engineering deliverables. And these can all be done at the same time or at different times. But see, like an example would be these science and engineering deliverables. They're both split up the work, but they both start on October 10th. So they could be started on the same date. They can have different subtasks, And you just need to be aware of the science deliverables, the main milestone and once you started it and once you end it. And within this, there's a margin of days that takes the difference between the end date and the start date and tells you how many days you have to complete the milestone or main topic. Um, when we talked to Michael Fitzgerald, I sent this file to him and asked him, if he had any opinions or if I needed to adjust it any further. And he told me that, it looks great. The only thing I needed to include was margin. And margin is just a little time gap that you have for each milestone. So it shouldn't apply to all milestones. As for example, conduct background research. You shouldn't have marginal days that you should put off just for a simple task, but you need marginal dates for bigger milestones, such as your preliminary design review. So for this, I did, Michael said that for each 12 months of work, you should have 1 month of margin. So I took that into consideration and found that for each day, the difference in end and start date for your milestones would be that number divided by 30 days within a month and times that by 3. And the 3 days is just the marginal time gap that Michael suggested. He said it should be either between 1 to 5 days of marginal days. So we did an average of 3. So like I said, adjust to your settings and adjust to your project deliverables as such. And for example, conduct background research about Mars environment. There shouldn't be any marginal data. So if need be, you can get rid of it. If you need to adjust it, the cell arithmetic is within the cell. So just be aware of that if you need to copy and paste it. And so a quick overview of it. For these milestones, you want to give a time gap of start and end date, and then I adjusted it to where it can show the marginal days. If it's a low number, less than 1, it won't show. And if it's 1.5, it obviously doesn't show like the half mark for half a day. So just round it up to 2 days and follow as such. If you want to go into this, there's also a progress tab that can be adjusted to wherever liking you need to be. Since these days have already passed, they should be 100% completed. But say that I was working on the finalized scientific instrument for payload, Sherry and Jess, maybe Jess worked on it even further, and now she's at 70%. And now it adjusts the bar task. So like I said, this is easy for you guys to edit. I'll go over a quick overview on how to edit it and insert a new task. So if you want to insert a new task for engineering deliverables, you want to go to insert and you want to go to entire row and say that, maybe Dan has to do another engineering drawing. So we could say, let's see lander drawing that Dan needs to complete. So we'll assign this to Dan, and we'll say that this started when he completed his CAD lander, which was on 10/19. So he started on 10/20, and he has until, obviously the end date's November 6th, but say that he needed another time gap of the 7th, because we do have a marginal days of 3 days at most. So we would have 3 days after the 6th, which would be the 9th, that we can start the preliminary design review. So maybe Dan needs that. This is also within the cell arithmetic. So if you want to have that difference in days calculated automatically, you just need to grab this bottom right-hand corner, drag it down, and it'll do the difference between the 7th and the 20th. So maybe Dan's, he started it early, or no, he started on the 20th. Right now is the 31st, for example, so maybe he's 60% of the way done. And then it adjusts it to the scale. This red line marks today's date, and so just be aware of that. So it's as simple as just inserting a new row. I've added additional milestone tasks at the very bottom so that you don't need to, but just in case if you do, you can highlight the milestone task all the way up to task 5, copy and paste until the end of this scheduled date, which is the first week of January, copy it, bring it down to the next row line, and paste it. And once you paste it, the codes that go within these cells is also adjusted. So Sherry wants you guys to also be aware of, marking it with different colors and different tasks so that you guys can actually differentiate each task and milestone. So maybe this color will choose a dark blue and a light blue. So these can be adjusted here. And in order to change the colors within these tasks and subtasks, you just need to click within the cell, go to conditional formatting, and within conditional formatting is the rules. And these are the rules that actually have the codes. Like I said, these red lines indicate today's date. This gray bar indicates the progress adjusted, so that covers the top layer. The next one, this red dashed line, goes towards the bigger task or milestone. That just shows differentiates it from the subtasks. And below that is the marginal data. So this is how it is. These are already loaded within the cells. As you can see, it's adjusted. I copied and pasted, and it's only looking at this milestone task. So if you need to change the color, you can double click. I'll show that one more time. Double click on the formula tab. The formula will actually show the equation used to change the color setting for the dates. So you can take a look at that if you want. If you want to change the color of it, you can go to format, and within format here you can adjust the color. So we said it was dark blue. Maybe you want to change the pattern style for the milestone task. We'll just go the other direction. You can add a border if you want to outline each individual day, if you want to see that. And so this is where you can change the color settings. You click OK, OK, and then you want to apply it. And then since we added the border, now you can see that the days are actually defined. So that's for the milestone tab. If you click one cell down to the subtasks and go to conditional formatting, manage rules, now you'll actually see that these cells are highlighted. So now you're only looking at the subtasks. And if you were to include an additional subtask, it would adjust automatically as well. So now we don't want to have pink because now we're in a light blue subtask. So we're going to double click on the formula, format the color, and now we're at light blue. And maybe we want to include the borders just so we can see the days. Click OK, OK, and then apply. And then now you can see the progress. If you want to include the progress outlines, you double click it as well. Format, go into the border, outline it, apply. So adjust accordingly on how you visually want to see your progress, your subtasks, and how they actually occur over the progress of your schedule. And yes, and I think that is it for the Excel format. Like I said, just be aware. You want to make sure that your schedule is up to date and it's planned accordingly. You want to make sure your progress tabs are actually adjusted as you start going along. As for example, within this engineering design, maybe Sherry and Jess are doing their scientific deliverables on time. And then me and Dan, we're making slow progress. We're actually getting it done. Maybe Dan completed the engineering drawing further, so he could put it 70%, and now it jumps up with today's schedule. And since these are moving forward, then you can actually look at the preliminary design review, which is categorized by subject, and those subjects, can be adjusted accordingly as everything else is adjusted. And just want to make sure that everybody knows that the preliminary design review documents actually due on the 30th of November. So I made that high topic, high yellow, so that team members can actually know. So one thing with margin is that we include margin so that we can also promote early due dates, so that we can promote an early time that the whole team can complete everything. So margin, don't try to eat up your marginal time. Be aware of it. That's what Michael Fitzgerald suggested. So shoot for an early finish date. And just in case if you need to use those extra 2 days, they can go towards the very bottom of completing your PDR. So let me know if you have any questions. I try to make it as simple and intuitive as possible. Just as, like I said, just as simple as inserting a new task, inserting a new row, adjust your tasks, adjust your titles, assignments, adjust your progress, change the start and end dates. Just make sure your difference in days from end to start actually show, your marginal dates included. That's all cell arithmetic. And then, like I showed you earlier, rewatch the video, rewind to actually see how I changed the color within the conditional formatting. And last but not least, so that finishes up the Excel project schedule. I also have, these are other examples of the Excel templates that I was looking at as well. This is the Microsoft project that I'll be posting along with it. Quick overview of it. The one hard thing was actually including the margin. So I had to actually talk to Michael Fitzgerald and ask him, how do you go about including margin into Microsoft Project? And he said that for him, he adds it as another task right before his milestones. So that's what I did. I did this later on, so some of the dates don't actually quite match up with the Excel, but that's okay. I didn't include any marginal time for the background research about Mars or brainstorming lander designs, but I did include it for the science, engineering, and PDR milestones. And you can see within those are differentiated between a big yellow bar and 2 diamond dark circles at the start end point. And this is the same thing. Let me know if you need help with making a category and then making the category or milestone and actually putting subtasks underneath. For this one, it was different that I can actually assign names to each subtask. So we'll be sending a clear document so that you could put your team members in there. The one thing I couldn't do with the Excel was actually get the predecessors to link up. I'll look into that even further, but trying to have it coded in is a little difficult. But for Microsoft Project, you can actually have the predecessors link in, and that's as simple as typing in within this predecessor the cell numbers, and those will adjust if you do insert a new task or subtask, that they'll adjust accordingly. And to change the progress bars on these ones, unlike the Excel where you could be specific with 75% or 80%, 86%. For Microsoft Project, they do have these tabs up in the top taskbar where it only goes from 0, 25, 50, 75, and 100%. So be aware of that as you start, want to show progress so that your team members can see as well. Let's see what else.
Something else we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to share, we wanted to keep this brief for you, is the self-assessment sheet. So we'll be emailing this out to you for you to look at your original schedule and go ahead and rate yourselves, whether it was novice, intermediate, or professional. So thank you guys so much for spending time with us, and we'll be putting out so many more of these videos for you to help you out. Have a great day, and feel free to contact us if you need anything. Thanks.